This is why I love collecting. Woo-hoo-hoo. Look at all this Silver Age goodness, guys. What's up, everybody? It's me, Mikey P, here with another episode of the unnamed show that I still don't have a name for. Comic Book Something, Episode 2. It's something to do with comic books and collecting, so that's what we're gonna go with. And so welcome back to the show. Welcome to the second episode. Woo. And man, it's gonna get fun, and I'm gonna show you guys some amazing books I picked up at the end of 2021, and I'm gonna dive right into it. So this is all like Silver Age goodness, Bronze Age goodness, and like this is why I love all the old books. It's the artwork, the detail, the storytelling, everything about it is so historical and so beautiful, and I love it for those reasons. So, but first, I want to share and showcase my buddy. His name is Christian Fataruso, and he is an amazing artist. He does a lot of cover works. He goes to shows and conventions with his work and stuff like that. You know, he's a wonderful friend of mine, and he knows that I'm a huge Captain America fan. So last year for my birthday, he did a sketch cover for me. So those of you who are new to collecting, new to comic books, or don't know anything at all, sketch covers are blank cover comic books that you could actually like sketch and draw and ink and color and everything that you want to do on them. I've seen people paint on them too. Sometimes each book or different publisher has different thicknesses to them, but overall they're really cool. And so my buddy did this in his style, and man, I love it. It's classic Captain America, Red Skull, Cosmic Cube, boom, look at that. It's just so cool. Look, it's so beautiful. I love it. Just look at that, man. Just wanted to highlight some amazing artists and people that I know in the community. Just, thank you, buddy. I love it, and it is always hanging up somewhere in my room. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. So now we get to the goodness, the cool stuff. So I'm going to introduce you guys to some anthology series first. Now, these anthology series in Marvel, such as Strange Tales, Tales to Astonish, and Tales of Suspense, they were all under Atlas, which was Marvel still, but it was before they rebranded themselves as Marvel. And at the time, they had pre-superhero books that had monsters in them. Interdimensional, intergalactic, just monsters on Earth, all kinds of crazy, spooky sci-fi stories. And I love them. They're so cheesy, they're great. I'm a huge fan of Godzilla, so when it comes to monsters and kaiju, it's a lot of fun. But what you may not know is there are things known as comic book prototype characters. Yes, you heard me right, prototype characters. So for example, this first book I'm going to show you, and I will go into detail more about it. Here we go, Strange Tales number 84, the first appearance of Magneto, and you're wondering why it doesn't look like the Magneto you know from X-Men. Well, there were prototype characters that had powers or maybe characteristics or traits that a character later in Marvel that we know and love would have. And so this character, Magneto, is a monster, but he had the powers of magnetism. And the thing about him with magnetism was, I believe that they think it was such a good idea that they wanted to repurpose it, and so henceforth, Magneto in the X-Men, the villain that we all know and love. And there's other prototypes for other characters, for Spider-Man, for Doctor Strange, for Doctor Doom, the villain in the Fantastic Four. And next up is another pre-superhero monster book. I have not seen anywhere if this is a prototype character, but I would like to think that this character is a prototype character. Here we go, Tales to Astonish number 15, the first appearance of the Blip. And it is a monster solely composed of electricity, of electric power, and it makes me think like maybe he is the prototype for the villain in Spider-Man, Electro. And, you know, it could be a great idea. Maybe not a full prototype like some other characters, but I believe this is definitely one. Next up is more of the Silver Age superhero goodness, and also this book is kind of like spec'd on. They're speccing it for the new Thor movie, and it's a villain, a character who plays a huge part in interdimensional characters and villains and stuff like that, and especially in the cosmic realm with Galactus as well. Here we go, Thor number 134, the first appearance of the High Evolutionary. And man, this is a solid copy. When I saw my shop had this, I flipped out. I was like, oh, I gotta get this book. It's so cool, so amazing, beautiful, very crisp, very few, spine ticks, a little blunting on the edges. It's a nice, solid, beautiful mid-grade, and I'm so happy about this book. And I've been trying to get it to fill my Thor runs for like ever. Next up is a Galactus Key. Partial origin of Galactus, first appearance of Thermal Man. Here we go, more Silver Age, kind of teetering into that Bronze Age, from 12 cents to 15 cents. Goodness of Thor number 168, Galactus Found. And man, such an amazing villain character. I don't know if he's fully a villain, but the devourer of worlds, Galactus himself, battling against Thor, and later issues after this, he fights Ego, the Living Planet. And oh man, these Thor books that go into the cosmic realm of things, it's so classic. Not to mention my favorite artist, Jack Kirby, on a lot of these early Thor books as well. Amazing guy. I might do an episode on Jack Kirby and kind of the history of some of the other amazing creators in Marvel and maybe even in DC. So keep an eye out for that. If you like that idea, put it in the suggestions down below in your comments. And I also want to say thank you to Key Collector Comics for being able to make comic books that are keys, full of importance, easy to track, kind of look at the values, have nice cool eBay links. I just want to give them a huge shout out. They're amazing people, and they're not a sponsor. But I love seeing what they're doing in the community and making it so much fun for everybody to track books that are expensive, books that aren't super expensive, books that find their niches, and books that are in different kinds of categories that are just fun and makes collecting a whole lot more easier and knowledgeable for everybody. Next up is The Power of Warlock number 1. I think this is the first time he's referred to as Adam Warlock. They find out the gem in his forehead is the soul gem, one of the gems of the Infinity Stones. And they're saying it's confirmed that Warlock himself is appearing in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now that's super exciting. For those of you who are not like in-depth Marvel fans that read the comics, Warlock is like this cosmic entity being who like is kind of like very angelic, helping the universe. But he also has a bit of a dark side as well, known as the Magus. And the two giant dualities of these cosmic characters cause for a lot of wonderful stories to be told. I love the early Jim Starlin stuff that he did with him. Next up is, we're going into the Avengers. We all know and love the Avengers, right? Well, next up is the Avengers number 118, part 7, I believe, of the Avengers Defenders War. Now, the Defenders was another superhero team that was around when the Avengers couldn't be around, and they were composed of Hulk, Silver Surfer, Namor, and Doctor Strange, and they were battling it out. I don't want to tell you the story. I don't want to waste any spoilers, have any of that going on here. But it was an amazing story. I love this so much. And the cool thing is about this, where they're battling, is you have Dormammu, the villain from Doctor Strange, and Loki, the villain from Thor, teaming up, and you'll learn why they're in there. And lastly, and finally, but not least at all, this is a really cool book. I've been kind of eyeing it for a while. I've been slacking on my DC keys. I'm just a huge Marvel fan. But finally, next up we have Batman issue 200. Now this book, issue 200, is the first time that Neil Adams, one of the most famous comic book artists of all time, especially for Batman, known for reinventing Batman, from kind of all the silliness from the Silver Age, the early Silver Age, and some of the Golden Age stuff, where, they were doing silly stuff, cheesy things, crappy gadgets, different rainbow-colored costumes. They were more kids' stories, but thanks to Neil Adams, they kind of brought it back into the Batman we really know and love. The Adam West TV show kind of took everything off the rails, and this kind of put it back on. If you guys do not know who Neil Adams is, he is an amazing artist. I just love a ton of his different work. He's done everything from DC to Marvel, you name it. You still see him at conventions nowadays, and he's just drawing like a madman, doing wonderful jobs and commissions. But guys, that is it from me. I wanted to provide a fun historical context between the pre-superhero books. Those were written by Stan Lee and drawn by Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby, and later all of those heroes for the prototypes that were made were reintroduced by some of those characters, such as in Strange Tales, Doctor Strange appears, and Tales to Astonish, Ant-Man eventually shows up, and there's an Ant-Man prototype. There's all kinds of really cool stuff. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I have a lot of cool things lined up besides just showing off books. I want to do historical videos. I want to do deep dives. I want to do comic book shop interviews. And now cons are coming back, and I want to show off, you know, the cool con culture, the environment that's going on, and hopefully you guys will stay tuned for that. I have some cool things in the pipeline, but thank you guys so much for supporting me. I love you all. I'm Mikey P, and I'll see you in the next one.